Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome freaking back. As you guys can see by the title and the thumbnail of this video, there's so much snow on the ground, so let's pick out some books to read. So, Snowmageddon, as we've all heard it called, has happened, is currently happening, or is about to happen for most of us, right? So, are you prepared? Because we really don't want to let cabin fever turn us into snow zombies. That would be absolutely awful. So I've curated an ultimate list of literary survival kits. Just things that we need to be reading. A list designed specifically to transport our minds and sustain our sanity. So, while this whiteout lasts, let's chat about some books. First of all, we are going to very quickly state that I hope everyone is staying safe, staying warm, and enjoying the snow as much as they can where they are right now. If you have no snow, congratulations. If you do have snow, please stay safe. And yeah, that's pretty much that. So while we have snow, I know that I love a warm drink. I love to get cozy, and what better time to just dive into some books while you're snowed in. You're gonna be snowed in anyway, you might as well go on a literary adventure. So, with that my brain. With that being said, we are going to first talk about like our epic fantasies, basically our romances, things like that. I'm going to try to give you guys like 2 to 3 books per category, probably gonna stick around 2 books per category. So for our fantasies, this is where we want to escape the extremes. So the 2 fantasies that I have for you, the 2 fantasy series that I recommend you sit down and binge while we are snowed in is number 1, the Caraval Trilogy by Stephanie Garber, and number 2, the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer. How funny is it that both of these authors' names are Stephanie? Because whenever I was writing this down, I was like, oh, they're both Stephanies, and both of them are the series that I'm going to recommend for you. The reason I am recommending these 2 series in particular is because these are both YA. If you do not know what YA means, it means young adult, but basically these books being YA makes them so much easier to sit down and binge in a few days instead of a few months. I'm always one to recommend ACOTAR and Fourth Wing, but those are big challenges. Those are sit down for months and work on. They're not a snow day, snow weekend, like 3 days off binge, but Caraval and Twilight, on the other hand, are 100% bingeable in a few days. Like, I would just highly recommend them. Caraval is literally so good. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I really did not like the second book in this trilogy. I really didn't like the second book. I could have gone without it, but after finishing the entire trilogy, it's like, okay, I still rated it like a 3-star, but still, like, could have gone without it. But basically, this series follows 2 sisters who have basically been trying to get into this carnival thing that happens. So every 100 years, a magical island shows up. Man, I just got so washed out by my light. I don't know what happened. Every 100 years, a magical island shows up. And with that magical island comes trials and anxiety and stress, the best way that I can explain it is make it Harry Potter, but add a little bit of Hunger Games into it. So like it's magic, but it's also like really trial based. But these books are really, really, really fun and really easy to get through, and I do highly recommend these ones. And then like I said, I also recommend Twilight. I do not have those books on my person, but I do highly recommend the Twilight series while we are in this Snowmageddon. It is a perfect time to sit down and binge those books. The perfect time to sit down and binge those books. Then, oh my gosh, look at that fuzzy. Can you guys see that? I was so startled just now. I was 100% for sure that something was coming to attack me. But it's just fuzz. Anyway, we are going to talk about historical fictions now. So these are the books that you want to escape in to transport you into different eras. I mean, what could be better than just sitting down with a good old book and escaping into a completely different time? I love a historical fiction. But the two books that I'm going to recommend for you for historical fictions are, that's a drum roll if you didn't know, The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. This book is so good. And Daisy Jones and the Six. Let's talk about Daisy Jones and the Six first, because I can put my feelings into words easier with this book than I can with The Nightingale. So we're going to start here. Daisy Jones and the Six is lightly based around Fleetwood Mac. So what I mean by that is this book follows a band, and the band needs someone to be the face of the band. Like, they're a really good band, but they're missing something. The something they are missing is Daisy. Daisy comes in, basically takes the world by storm. This band is like the band, but there is a massive romance in our band, okay? There's a massive romance. What does that remind you of? Literally Fleetwood Mac, okay? So this is lightly based around Fleetwood Mac, okay? Lightly. What I'm saying is that every single thing in this book is not factual to Fleetwood Mac, okay? Okay. Anyway, so this is basically set in the 70s, I'm pretty sure. Late 60s, sneaking. So yeah, late 60s going into the 70s. But basically, this book follows our main characters who are our bandmates, and they are going through quite a lot because this is the year of rock and roll, this is the year of drugs, this is the year of, I mean, just doing a whole lot of wild, okay? But basically the way that this book is set up is that it is kind of a, I guess you could say, interview in a way. It's set up really well. It's set up as a book, obviously, but in between those chapters we get the interviews with our main bandmates. And I'm going to cut this long story short and basically say that this book is fantastic and I would highly recommend it. Okay, then the second book that I'm going to recommend for historical fictions, as you guys know, is The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. This book is devastating. Now, it is a thick boy. It's thick. It might take you longer than Snowmageddon to get through this book, but I'm going to recommend it anyway because this book is so good. It's so good. You cannot not recommend this book if you've read this book, if that makes sense. This book is being adapted into a movie with our Fanning sisters. I'm sure we've all seen the like little clips and snippets of them talking about it and just like all of the little sneak peeks that we're getting. But anyway, I highly recommend reading books before you watch the movies. I think that if you just strictly watch the movies, you're missing out on a lot because these authors write these books purely intentionally. They write these books with every single word down to the bones. Those words are supposed to be there because the authors wanted them to be there. Does that make sense? So whenever you're watching movies, sometimes they have to cut stuff out for time. Like, that just happens. We all know that happens. But whenever you do that, you're missing so many like behind the scenes, like maybe not necessarily the most important side plot, but it is still a side plot, you know what I mean? So I highly recommend you read this book before you go see the movie, because everyone should go see the movie as well. But I highly recommend you read the book. The book is so devastatingly beautiful. It follows two sisters who are, I mean, I guess you could technically say it follows one sister, but basically our main sister is helping out in the war. So basically this book is set around World War II, but not in the way that we are used to seeing World War II adapted into book and film. The way that we see it adapted is with the men in the war and the men going off and doing the thing. This book follows what the women did in the war, what the women did to help out World War II. And I think it was told so beautifully by Kristin. I think she did such a phenomenal job. I would highly recommend this book with the highest ratings that I could ever possibly give. That's how I feel about The Nightingale. It is a book that has stuck with me since I read it. It is one that I have not stopped thinking about. It is one that I think about quite often. I love this book. I would highly recommend it. And then we are going to talk about some sci-fi books for our survival guide. And this is whenever you need to escape into being able to achieve impossible odds. Whenever you feel like your world is struggling, so you need to improve on it, and the way that you do that is by achieving the impossible and by facing impossible odds. So that's our sci-fi, right? So that's what we get whenever we read sci-fi books. The two books that I have recommended for you for this category, I do not have either of them physically, but the first book is Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. This book is really good, and it was just adapted into a movie with Robert Pattinson. But this book follows our main character, and he basically signs away his life, I guess you could say. And what I mean by that is every single time that our main male character dies, he regenerates. So he doesn't really ever die. He is forever just there. But the reason the book is called Mickey 7 is because this is the 7th version of Mickey. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Anyway, this book is really fun. It's really great, and there's also like more books. There's more books in this series, so whenever you finish Mickey 7, you can go straight into it. I think the second book is Antimatter Blues, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, you guys are not going to want to miss out on reading that book. It is so good. And then you get to watch a movie afterwards. And then the second book that I am recommending for our sci-fi category is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Obviously, these books are in our YA category, so once again, they're easy to binge, which is why I'm recommending them right now, because what better time to binge books? I've said it once, I'll say it again in this video. What better time to binge books than during a snowstorm? Another like really big category of books that I would highly recommend you read while we are in a snowstorm is banned books. Banned books are typically very short books, like 300 pages max. I would highly recommend you pick up 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or as many as you want to during the snowstorm and read as much as you want. Literally read as much as you want. Read all of them. Read any of them. Just read them. So your personal snow day stack. You don't have to read any of the books that I've recommended you. What you should do is pick out books that you want to read. Pick out, like tailor the list into your specific needs. So just basically read whatever you want to. Just read whatever you want to. But that also gives you a chance to kind of separate yourself from your electronics. You get to use physical books during this time because your electronics are inevitably going to die if your power goes out. So you get to read physical books. I love physical books, but don't get me wrong. I'm a big Kindle reader. I love my Kindle. My Kindle comes with me everywhere, but I do like to escape into a physical book every once in a while. So make sure your Kindles are charged, make sure your e-readers are charged, and have a good collection of physical books around you. And also leave your snow day survival reads down in the comments. I really want to know what you guys like to read during survival. I want to know what you guys like to read whenever you guys just like to binge. Whenever you like to binge a book or binge a series, what are you going for? Please let me know down in the comments. While you're at it, I've already said it, but make sure you're staying safe, make sure you're staying warm. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment downstairs. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.